Can we talk about the fact that the first day you went, you were annoyed by the yellow though?
I was sad. Yeah, remember we talked because they had given me green, and I was like,
Charlie was the first one on set to receive a saber.
Oh.
And we got to set, and it turned on, and he was like, "It's yellow."
What's your earliest memory of Star Wars?
I was watching The Empire Strikes Back, but a really early memory that I have is the TV premiere of Return of the Jedi. That really stuck in my mind.
Watching the original trilogy with my dad, because that was what he grew up with.
Exact same thing. Like my dad was watching this weird old-looking movie on TV, and I was a kid wondering what the heck is he watching. It turned out to be A New Hope.
I would say watching the first films with my dad.
I watched it for the first time with my dad as well. I am too young for it to have been in the cinema for me.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding us. I know what I connected to as the Ewoks initially first. I connected to Leia being adopted. I'm adopted, and that felt really like, oh my gosh, she gets me.
아주 어렸을 때인데 담벼락에.
I mean, this was a long time ago, but when I was in elementary school, I first saw a poster of Star Wars kind of posted on the wall of my neighborhood, and I thought, wow, that even the poster, it looks so cool. What is it? Like, what is the story? And when I went to see the movie for the first time, my eyes just grew wide, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I really couldn't look away. I didn't want to blink or miss a moment of it.
You have a really unique opportunity here, I think, with the Acolyte, in that you are working in a time period in Star Wars that we have not seen on screen before.
Yeah.
So did you find that to be very freeing in terms of what you were allowed to do?
Oh, absolutely. It was totally freeing. It's one of the reasons I set the show there, so that I wouldn't feel constrained. However, it was a lot of responsibility to be the first person playing in that time period. Luckily, I had the guidance of George's prequels, obviously, to move backward from there. And then, the publishing initiative of the High Republic. From the costume design to including Vernestra, there was just a sense of, we want to make this feel like the first live-action High Republic show, but at the same time make it feel like that original trilogy in terms of utilizing practical sets.
The sets were real.
They were real. We just walked into them.
Real
Jedi
shot.
Temple, forests. Yeah.
We went to Madeira for 2 weeks to shoot.
But we also
outside.
had matching Madeira at home, like...
Yeah.
It's very
Caves, the ice. The snow was plastic. We'll give you freaking worse.
Do you remember that?
I hated that.
We pretty much got to see all of them built from the ground up, because we were there for 6 weeks before we started filming.
awesome.
So we'd see the bones of it, and then it would turn into a ship, and then we would be on the ship, Probably our craziest set we have is a giant forest.
Yeah, Poplar.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were able to see it from the beginning, from just scaffolding, and then all of a sudden people bringing trees and
ferns.
trunks and ferns and bushes, and then it becoming its own life, like its own
Rock
place
formation, like a creek.
Yeah.
Like an actual creek.
Master Saul he mentions that he was taken away from his family when he was only 4, and yet he has a very fatherly way about him.
되게 외로웠을 것 같아요.
I think Master Soul was a character that was very lonely, I think because he was, sort of selected for his abilities at a very young age and taken away from his family, like you mentioned, and went through Jedi training. Not only was Jedi training very difficult, but I think it was a very lonely experience. So I think when it's his turn to train the younglings, I think he really understands kind of the inner loneliness within these younglings.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
Well, we see with May, obviously, that she is Force sensitive. She is out here hunting Jedi. But thus far, and I've only seen the first 4 episodes, I haven't seen her use a lightsaber. So how does she select her weapons?
I got to write May's backstory, and in my version of how May was raised, she spent a lot of time in her adolescence, on the streets, fending for herself without really any parental figures or any community or support. And I imagine that, in the alleyways of said, galactic cities, that became her weapon of choice.
I think, too, one of the things that's interesting about Qimir is he manages to be kind of a shifty character,
Yes.
but dance that line where you still like him.
Yeah, it's finding the levity, I think. And, you know, when I first met with Leslye, it was like, how do we tackle a character like this where he can, you know, kind of just give life or give more humor to these darker kind of notions and themes. So I definitely leaned into where can I, you know, make these, you know, stoic Jedi laugh a little. Like, hey, have a bit of fun.
And that's such a fun exploration of the Jedi who are, you know, we see here, not so infallible.
Well, yes. And I think, I mean, honestly, George told us that in
Yes.
the prequels. He was like, listen, these guys are not infallible. These these people.
Yeah.
I know, it's so hard because you're like, some of them are complete aliens.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, these guys, they are fallible. They are not, they're headed toward destruction. So I think that definitely I'm not the first person to explore that.
Sure.
But I do think this story is a smaller, more intimate version of that story.